And that sort of stuff. Now it's just trying to get the money out as fast as possible before they come in and like stop it.
Really?
Yeah.
You can do that?
To an extent. Just like within reason. Yeah.
Ah, yes, another day, another scam. This time, the culprits are allegedly taking out billions of dollars from our economy before Donald Trump takes over. And in this video, I'll tell you who's likely behind this daylight robbery and why their days are numbered. We'll also talk about how a Florida senator has introduced a bill to stop weather modification once and for all. But first, let's begin with this interview that was released by Project Veritas.
Now it's just trying to get the money out as fast as possible before they come in and like stop it. It truly feels like we're on the Titanic or throwing like gold bars off the tank.
As you can see, they caught an EPA advisor on video revealing all of the shady things the Biden administration has been doing so far. And as for who this advisor really is, well, he does a good job introducing himself, so let's give him a chance to speak.
So I do the Inflation Reduction Act. You heard of it?
Yes.
Okay, Biden's climate law.
Yes.
Yeah. So I do hiring implementations. I work with like Biden appointees.
Hold on. That's already a huge red flag, my friends, because as far as I know, the Inflation Reduction Act had some really seedy stuff in it. I even made a whole video about how that act gave so much incentive to these lithium miners to steal our land. $660 billion are going to be spent on climate action incentives. Now, why does that matter, you might be asking? Well, because as most financial institutes predicted all the way back in 2022, this act was tailor-made to create a lithium crunch in our country. You see, the act gave huge tax credits for anyone buying electric vehicles, but this act made it clear that the final assembly of clean vehicles qualifying for the tax credit will have to take place in North America, and critical minerals used in batteries, including lithium, are going to have to be sourced from either North America or U.S. trading partners. Beginning in 2024, minerals or components sourced from foreign entities of concern like Russia and China will make vehicles ineligible for subsidies. This basically meant that car manufacturers like Tesla and even the German brands had to source all of this lithium from US soil, and that's how this gold rush began. Now, even more interestingly, at the time, there was only one company producing any lithium in the US, and you guessed it, it was Albemarle Global, which was extracting lithium from Nevada. And thanks to this Inflation Reduction Act, overnight, this small company became a frontrunner in the global lithium market. So basically, a guy who says he was implementing the Lithium Act is now admitting this.
We've given out like tens of billions of dollars, like for the last year. Last year we got out like $50 billion.
$50 million?
Billion with B.
$50 billion.
Yes, for climate things. So like to go work for one of these places, I think we'll be able to.
As you can see, he's pretty excited about going to work for these places, which according to him have received around $50 billion in the last year alone. And why did they get this money, you might ask? For climate things. At least that's what Brent is saying. And look, I don't want you to think that I'm trying to clip him out of context or something. So I would highly encourage you to check out the full interview on the Project Veritas channel. I'm just trying to show you the parts of the interview that clearly show us how Biden's environmental efforts are only for political gain and to help advisors like Brent make boatloads of money. Now, the most egregious part of this interview is when this guy straight up admits that since Kamala lost and Trump is coming to the White House, they are trying to run with as much money as they can.
So now we're just like getting out as quick as possible.
Right. Yeah, but you're at $50 billion.
No, it's like $2 billion at this point. But yeah, we got most of it, like 90% is out.
So they've already taken out $2 billion, and I'm sure you're wondering where this money is going.
Where are the gold bars going to?
Nonprofits, states, tribes, cities.
But if they're giving out so much money, why haven't we heard anything about it? Now, the EPA giving billions of dollars for environmental projects is nothing new. In fact, back in April, they gave a staggering $20 billion for clean energy projects. However, this is where Brent revealed something even more concerning.
Anything like in the news that I would know of?
Not yet.
Like any organization.
While he laughs it off as no big deal, this is no joke. You can't take away billions of dollars from taxpayer money and keep it under wraps. And this raises yet another question. Why are Biden, Kamala, or any of their cabinet members not talking about these new grants? Well, the answer is simple. What they're doing is not something the American people are going to appreciate. In fact, Trump pretty much won this election by promising that he will not waste your money on things that don't improve your lives.
Starting on day one, we will end Kamala's war on American energy, and we will drill, baby, drill. We're going to drill, baby, drill. That's going to bring down prices of everything because energy brought it up. We're going to terminate the Green New Scam. It's called the Green New Deal. It's a scam. We took almost $10 trillion for nonsense, for absolute nonsense. We'll do bridges, we'll do roads, we'll do things that we need, but we're not going to be spending it or wasting it stupidly and have China laugh at us.
Now, even though Biden was behind these green funding programs, I don't think Trump is going to be fighting him. I mean, just look at this guy.
Aligning this project with national priorities and other bilateral and regional commitments. In closing, allow me to reiterate Tanzania's...
You're telling me this man, who can't even stay awake during an international conference, somehow came up with an elaborate program to steal billions of dollars from the American economy? Of course not. It's the same guys who pushed him to pass the Inflation Reduction Bill. The same people who control our health industry. And I bet a lot of you also know that it's the same guys who created the ESG craze and are now being sued by 11 different states. Of course, I'm talking about BlackRock and other asset managers who have pushed the green agenda to create a total grip over the US economy. I've already talked about how their monopoly over the coal industry has made life hard for millions of Americans. So if you haven't seen that video yet, make sure you check it out. Now, even though Elon Musk has been the most vocal opponent of wasteful spending, I think his fellow Doge captain Vivek Ramaswamy might be the biggest weapon Trump has against these mega corporations.
Your own money is being used to advance agendas that are counter to your own views, but even more perniciously, against your own best financial interests. That's what the ESG movement is all about. It's effectively blue state pension funds and government actors being able to use financial institutions like BlackRock to do through the back door what they could not get done through the front door under the Constitution of this country. This is arguably the largest scale violation of trust, fiduciary breach in human history.
As you can see, the man has been fighting against the ESG movement for a while now. In fact, he's pretty much against any organization or movement that doesn't help the American people.
We said that for better or worse, and this is a crucial part of that, for better or worse, the way we do it on this side of the Atlantic, on this side of 1776, is that we do trust the people to sort out our differences through free speech and open debate in the public square where every citizen's voice and vote counts equally. That is how we do it. And so what we see today is that old ugly monster rearing its ugly head again. That old world European version that distrusted the public. That's what's at stake, is our sovereignty itself. From the WHO to the UN, it is fundamentally skeptical of sovereignty, especially the sovereignty of a nation founded on rejecting that monarchical vision.
Of course, only time will tell if he's going to succeed in taking down these extremely powerful corporations, but it is good to see that there's finally going to be someone in the government who doesn't like playing golf with Larry Fink. Now that we know why the Biden administration is spending all your money on waging wars and establishing industries, let me show you where that money isn't going.
I'm 66 years old, disabled, widowed, no family. I do have my 2 precious cats. And I found out this morning that in less than a week, I'm going to be homeless. I have no one to help me. I've reached out to every available charity in my area. But unfortunately, I'm a victim of Hurricane Helene in South Carolina. And there are no funds. FEMA won't even help. the tiny studio apartment I've got right now was damaged, and I have black mold in my apartment, and they won't fix it, and they told me they don't have any place to move me to. So the only other option for me is to move out. And I told them I couldn't afford to move out. So they took me to court and evicted me this morning. And within a week, I will be served with papers from the sheriff's giving me 24 hours to move out. I just want a roof over my head.
Now that's probably one of the most heartbreaking things I've seen in a while. However, this sweet lady is only one of thousands of people who are not receiving any help from our government. They are living in tents in the freezing cold weather and have nowhere to go. And instead of using our incredibly vast resources to help them, our government is giving away that money to green banks so people like Brent can work there. Luckily, not all lawmakers are as callous as the ones in this administration. A Florida senator has just decided to wage a war against weather modification, and she has even introduced a bill to stop it.
Okay, check this out. Florida senator introduces a bill to ban weather modification in Florida. Now, it's wild because every single time that I've been to Florida, I've always noticed so many chemtrails in the sky, even more than Canada. Now, let's take a look at this CNN article, the truth behind those white streaks trailing behind jets in the sky. These lines are called contrails, lie, short for condensation trails. They appear when the water vapor condenses and freezes around exhaust from aircraft, according to the university, blah, 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 lie. The bill was filed on November 20th by Senator Ileana Garcia. The weather modification activities bill sets out that the injection, release, or dispersion by any means of a chemical compound, a substance, or an apparatus into the atmosphere within the borders of this state for the express purpose of affecting the temperature or weather or the intensity of the sunlight is prohibited. Now, if you're still the type of person that's watching and believing all the things the media is telling you, then you have been greatly deceived your whole entire life. We've been trying to tell you that they've been poisoning our air supply, our water, and our food for years and years and years, but no one listens. But now people are listening and waking up. And this is really good news for Florida. If this passes and there are no more chemtrails in the sky, I will probably think about moving there straight up. And let us know what you think about this in the comments down below, and make sure to like, share, and follow for more. Peace and love.
Now, she's going to have a really hard time passing this bill because the people behind the weather modification projects are willing to spend millions of dollars to protect their interests. However, this bill shows us that lawmakers are finally starting to admit that weather modification truly does exist and we need to do something about it. So let's just hope that this wave of change continues and that the people who destroyed so many lives in places like North Carolina are finally brought to justice. As always, I look forward to seeing your comments, so feel free to share what you think about BlackRock and their actions. You could also support this channel simply by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing it with your friends and family. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope to see you in the next one.